The galaxy believed humanity was weak. The alien empire, spread across thousands of star systems, had crushed many civilizations before. To them, Earth was nothing more than another small world with fragile ships and untested soldiers. So when the Empire sent its massive fleet to a human colony, they expected an easy victory. Hundreds of alien warships appeared out of the void, their metallic bodies shining in the light of the nearby sun. The commander of the fleet smiled with cruel confidence. To him, this would be a simple task, another example of the Empire's endless strength. But what followed shocked every witness. The human colony was quiet at first. Civilians watched from the ground, their faces pale as the alien armada filled the skies. Parents held their children close, whispering prayers that they would survive. Soldiers on the surface waited, their fingers tight on their rifles, knowing they could not stop the ships above. Then, the silence broke. Out of the shadows of the planet's orbit, the first human warship emerged. It was not large compared to the Empire's heavy cruisers, but it was built for speed and precision. Its hull carried scars from older battles, and its weapons glowed with sharp blue light. The aliens laughed at the sight. One ship against hundreds? To them, it was foolish, but the humans did not laugh. The lone ship opened fire with a sudden strike, its cannons burning through the shields of the nearest alien destroyer. Before the enemy could respond, the ship danced through space like a predator. It fired again and again, tearing holes into ships that were supposed to be invincible. Explosions rippled across the alien formation. The alien commander snarled and ordered his fleet forward. He believed this single ship could not last for long. Yet before his orders were even complete, more human ships arrived. First 10, then 20, then 50. They seemed to appear from nowhere, rising from hidden positions, their engines blazing. The battle had begun. The sky turned into fire. Alien cruisers sent waves of plasma across the battlefield, but human ships moved in strange patterns, weaving and twisting through the blasts. It was as if they had studied every weakness of the Empire's formations. Small human frigates flew dangerously close to the giant cruisers, slipping under their heavy guns and striking their weak points. Alien shields cracked like glass, and one by one, the mighty warships of the Empire began to fall. From the surface of the colony, people watched the impossible. Where they had expected to see their destruction, they now saw hope. Cheers broke out as enemy ships exploded in bright flashes above. Yet even in victory, a shadow of fear lingered. How could humanity fight so well against such numbers? And what did it mean for the future? The alien commander could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet, powerful and experienced, was being destroyed by humans who had only recently entered the galactic stage. He shouted for reinforcements, but it was too late. The human ships surrounded his flagship, their weapons locked on him. Inside his bridge, silence fell among his officers. One of them whispered, almost afraid to speak, "Commander, if this is their whole army, the Empire is in danger." But then came the words that froze them all. A transmission was intercepted, spoken calmly by a human officer during the battle. This was only one fleet. The real force is elsewhere. The alien commander's blood ran cold. His hand shook. He looked at the destruction around him, the burning remains of his ships, the wreckage floating in space, the endless black sky filled with human firepower. And he understood the terrible truth. Humanity was not fighting with everything they had. The humans were holding back. The battle ended with a crushing defeat for the Empire. Only a handful of alien ships managed to escape, their engines screaming as they fled into the darkness. Behind them, the colony stood unharmed, protected by the humans who had turned the impossible into reality. The galaxy had witnessed something it could not explain. Rumors spread faster than light. Other alien species whispered of the event with fear. Some believed the humans had created weapons beyond imagination. Others said Earth had allies in hidden corners of the stars. But the most terrifying thought, the one that none dared say aloud, was simple. If this was not humanity's full strength, what would happen when they finally revealed it? The stars burned silently as the question echoed through every mind, and humanity stayed quiet, letting the fear grow. The Empire had never lost like this. For centuries, they ruled the stars with absolute control. Their fleets crushed rebellions, erased weaker species, and silenced anyone who dared to resist. To the galaxy, the Empire was unshakable, eternal, and unstoppable. But now a single human fleet had broken that illusion. News of the defeat spread like wildfire. It traveled faster than ships, faster than weapons, carried on secret transmissions, rumors, and frightened voices. Across countless worlds, people whispered the same words. The humans fought the Empire, and won. On distant colonies, small alien merchants spoke in hushed tones to their customers. On grand planets with shining cities, government officials closed their doors, their faces pale as they read the latest reports. Soldiers in faraway outposts exchanged nervous glances, wondering if the Empire was finally weakening. And inside the halls of the Empire itself, panic began to grow. The Emperor sat upon his golden throne, surrounded by advisors, generals, and spies. The chamber was dark, lit only by the glowing patterns of star maps that filled the air. Red lines marked where the battle had been lost. Blue lines showed human movement. The generals argued loudly. Some demanded a second attack, claiming the humans had been lucky. Others shouted for caution, saying the humans had weapons the Empire did not understand. But beneath their voices, fear sat heavy in the room. The Emperor raised a hand and silence fell. His voice was cold like iron. "Tell me," he asked slowly, "how many ships did the humans send?" A trembling officer answered. 50, maybe less. We are not certain." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And how many of ours were lost?" 232, my lord." Gasps filled the chamber. The number was too large, too impossible. The Emperor leaned back, his golden armor catching the light. "Then we face something greater than luck. We face a power we did not expect." The room grew colder with his words. For the first time in centuries, the Empire was afraid. Far from the throne, in the shadowy corners of the galaxy, spies whispered their own stories. One report told of massive shipyards hidden on Earth, building vessels the size of cities. Another spoke of human colonies training armies in silence, preparing for something larger. And another whispered of alliances, species thought extinct now standing with humanity. No one knew what was true. That uncertainty was worse than the truth itself. Among alien civilians, the fear grew stronger. In crowded markets, voices shook as they repeated the rumor. That was not even their full army. Children asked their parents what would happen if humans turned their power on the entire galaxy. Parents had no answers. Even hardened warriors looked at the stars with unease, imagining fleets that might never end. For the first time, the galaxy wondered if the Empire could be defeated. Back on Earth, humanity watched the rumors spread with quiet patience. Human leaders met in secret rooms deep underground. Maps covered the walls, showing star systems, fleets, and hidden bases. Their faces were calm, almost too calm. One commander leaned forward and spoke softly. "They think they saw everything. They think they fought our true strength." Another smiled faintly. "Let them believe it. Fear is a weapon more powerful than any gun." The room fell silent. No one disagreed. Humanity had chosen not to reveal the truth. The battle had shown only a fraction of their power. The real fleets, the true armies, waited in silence, hidden in places no spy could reach. But why? Why hide such strength? Some believed it was strategy. Others believed it was mercy. A few feared it was something darker. That humanity was waiting for the perfect moment, not to defend, but to strike. In the deep halls of the Empire, one general could not sleep. He sat in his private chamber, staring at the stars through a massive window. His hands trembled. He remembered the battle, the fire, the speed of human ships, the way they fought with precision like nothing he had ever seen. He whispered to himself, voice shaking. If that was only one fleet, what else are they hiding? His words were not meant to be heard, yet they echoed in the silence, as if the galaxy itself was asking the same question. The whispers continued. They spread from soldier to soldier, from world to world, until even the strongest rulers began to doubt their own strength. And far beyond, in the cold black of space, humanity remained silent. Their ships moved in secret. Their armies trained without pause. They were watching, waiting. The Empire thought the humans had shown their hand. But the truth was far more terrifying. Humanity had not even begun. The galaxy only saw what humans wanted them to see. A single fleet, 50 ships at most, had destroyed hundreds of the Empire's finest warships. The aliens believed that was everything humanity had. They were wrong. Beneath the surface of Earth, deep under mountains and oceans, secrets were being kept. Massive shipyards stretched like endless caverns filled with glowing lights and the thunder of machines. Here, workers built ships larger than anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Some vessels were the size of floating cities, their hulls layered with strange alloys that no spy could identify. Others were sleek and fast, designed for battles no alien had ever imagined. But these shipyards were hidden. To any outsider, Earth looked peaceful, even vulnerable. Satellites showed quiet cities, green forests, and oceans calm under the sun. No one would guess that deep below, humanity was creating a power that could shift the balance of the galaxy forever. In orbit above Mars, another secret waited. A fleet of unmanned war machines circled the red planet like silent predators. They were not crewed by humans, but by advanced AI systems that never grew tired, never questioned orders, and never felt fear. Each one carried weapons strong enough to split an asteroid in two. Together they formed a wall of firepower, hidden from alien eyes. Further out, near Jupiter's moons, training grounds stretched across the frozen surfaces. Thousands of soldiers drilled day and night in the bitter cold, their armor shining under the pale light. They learned tactics that confused alien generals, strikes that seemed reckless but always ended in victory. These soldiers were not only warriors, they were survivors. Humanity had grown on a world filled with storms, hunger, and endless struggle. To fight was in their nature. To win was their only choice. Back on Earth, leaders met in secret halls. They sat around a long table carved from black stone, maps floating above it. Every star system, every fleet, every secret base was marked. Their faces were calm, but their eyes carried a sharp fire. One commander spoke. "The Empire believes it fought our true strength. That lie is our shield." Another replied, "If they knew the truth, they would not hesitate to unite against us. Fear will slow them. Mystery will break them." The room fell into silence. The decision was clear. Humanity would not reveal its full strength. Not yet. Even among humans, very few knew the truth. Most citizens saw only what the leaders wanted them to see. Reports of victory, stories of brave soldiers, images of burning alien ships. They celebrated in the streets, waving flags, believing humanity had already shown its greatest weapons. They were proud, and their pride grew louder with every rumor of alien fear. But far away in the hidden places, the real power continued to rise. Among the alien empires, confusion spread. Spies tried to infiltrate human space, but most never returned. The few who did came back broken, whispering of things they did not understand. One claimed to have seen a fleet docked near Saturn, so vast it blotted out the stars. Another spoke of weapons buried inside the moon, capable of firing beams across light years. The Empire dismissed these stories as madness. Yet in their private chambers, alien leaders trembled. One senator spoke in fear. "If even one of these stories is true, then humanity is not just defending itself. They are preparing for something greater." The others stayed silent. None wanted to speak the thought that lived inside all their minds. What if humanity was preparing not for survival, but for conquest? Back on Earth, in a secret base beneath the oceans, a human admiral stood before a massive viewing screen. The dark waters pressed against the glass walls, strange creatures swimming in the shadows. Behind him, rows of officers watched in silence as new warships floated inside underwater docks. The admiral's voice was calm but firm. "The galaxy thinks we have shown our power. Let them think that. Let them whisper. Let them fear. When the time comes, the truth will shake the stars." His words echoed across the room. Officers saluted, their faces cold and determined. Even as fear spread among the aliens, humanity remained silent. They released no proof, no numbers, no images of their true fleets. They let the galaxy argue with itself. Every rumor became larger, every whisper darker, until even the strongest believers in the Empire began to doubt. In the endless black of space, human ships moved like shadows, vanishing before any eye could follow. Somewhere in the darkness, the real army waited. The Empire told itself it had seen humanity's limits. But the truth was simple. Humanity had no limits, and when they chose to reveal their strength, the galaxy would never be the same. The Empire could not accept defeat. To lose once was shameful. To lose twice would be unthinkable. Their pride, built over centuries of conquest, would not allow it. So they gathered another fleet. This time it was not hundreds of ships, it was thousands. From every corner of the Empire, warships were pulled into formation. Cruisers, carriers, and dreadnoughts filled the skies above their capital world. Their engines glowed red, casting light across the dark void. The Empire wanted the galaxy to see their strength. They wanted to erase the memory of their first loss with a display of firepower so overwhelming that no one would ever dare challenge them again. The order was given. The fleet moved. Their target was another human colony. This one was larger, richer, filled with millions of people. The Empire believed that crushing it would break humanity's spirit. As the alien fleet approached, civilians on the colony felt the same fear that had gripped the First World. They looked up at the night sky and saw distant lights like red stars moving closer. Whispers spread quickly through the streets. The Empire is coming again. Families huddled in their homes. Soldiers prepared for invasion. Everyone knew the battle would be terrible. Then came the silence before the storm. The alien fleet entered orbit, stretching across the blackness like an iron wall. Thousands of ships, endless rows of weapons pointed down at the colony. The alien commander smirked on his throne-like chair inside the flagship. He believed this time there would be no surprise, no trick. He would burn the colony to ash and show the galaxy that the Empire still ruled the stars. He raised his hand to give the command. But before the words left his mouth, the humans struck. From the far side of the system, human ships appeared. Not in dozens this time, but in hundreds. They came in tight formations, engines burning bright, weapons locked and ready. The sight froze the alien commander. For a moment he could not believe it. He thought the humans had only a few fleets. How could they bring so many? The battle began with a fury that shook the stars. Alien cruisers opened fire, filling space with burning plasma. The humans answered with beams of light so sharp they cut through shields like paper. Explosions erupted on both sides, turning the void into a storm of fire. The Empire had numbers, but humans had precision. Their ships moved like hunters, striking weak points, vanishing, then striking again. Small human frigates weaved between giant alien dreadnoughts, tearing into engines and power cores. Massive explosions ripped through the enemy lines. Still, the Empire pressed forward. Their commanders screamed orders, desperate to surround the humans. They believed numbers alone would win, but each time they tried, the humans broke their formation, slipping through gaps with terrifying speed. The colony below watched in awe. The sky lit up with fire and smoke, every explosion painting the night with colors of war. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers on the ground stared upward, their hearts racing as they realized they were witnessing history. Inside the alien flagship, fear began to spread. Officers shouted conflicting orders. Screens filled with images of burning ships, collapsing fleets, cries for help. The commander's face grew pale. This was supposed to be a simple victory. Instead, it was becoming another nightmare. One officer whispered, barely audible, "They fight like they know every move before we make it." Another said, "If this is still not their full force, then we are already lost." The commander clenched his fists, refusing to believe it. He sent more ships forward, desperate to crush the humans. But the truth became clearer with every passing moment. The Empire was not in control. Humanity was. Near the height of the battle, a chilling transmission cut through the chaos. A human officer's voice, calm and cold, echoed across open channels. "This is still not our full army." The words spread like poison. Every alien officer, every soldier, every civilian listening felt their blood freeze. The commander's hands shook. He stared at the screens, at the endless swarm of human ships that seemed to appear from the shadows. How many more could there be? How long had humanity been hiding this power? For the first time in his life, he considered retreat, but it was too late. The battle ended with fire and silence. Hundreds of alien ships were reduced to wreckage, drifting like broken bones across space. The survivors scattered, fleeing into the dark void, their engines burning at full speed. The Empire had thrown its might against humanity, and again it had failed. On the colony below, the people erupted in cheers. They had survived the storm. They had seen the Empire fall twice, and their faith in humanity grew stronger than ever. But among the human commanders, there was no celebration. Inside their war rooms, their faces remained hard, almost cold. One spoke quietly. "They still believe this is our strength. Let them. The real force waits." Another nodded. "The galaxy will fear us more than they can imagine. And when the time comes, they will see." The Empire, broken and humiliated, returned to its capital. The Emperor listened to the reports with a face of stone, but deep inside, even he felt the shadow of fear. 2 defeats, 2 battles lost, and still, Humanity claimed they had not revealed their full army. The galaxy now lived in dread, caught between whispers and silence. If what they had seen was not everything, then what unimaginable power was still hidden in the darkness? The stars offered no answer, but humanity already knew. The galaxy could no longer sleep in peace. 2 battles had been fought. 2 battles had been lost. The alien empire, once feared above all others, had been defeated by a species they once called weak. But the most terrifying part was not the losses. It was the words that still echoed across the stars. This is still not our full army. Every alien, from the highest senator to the poorest worker, repeated those words in fear. Were there more fleets? More soldiers? How much was humanity truly hiding? In the dark halls of the Empire, the Emperor held another council. The chamber was heavy with silence. Generals, advisors, and spies stood in stiff lines, their eyes lowered. None wanted to meet his gaze. The Emperor's voice was low but sharp. "Tell me, how many ships does humanity have?" No one answered. The silence stretched longer. Finally, a trembling spy spoke. We do not know, my lord. Every number we discover is contradicted by another. Some reports say hundreds, others say thousands, and some say more." The Emperor's hand gripped the arm of his throne so tightly that the metal cracked. His people had always believed in control, in certainty. But now there was only mystery, and mystery was far more dangerous than truth. Whispers turned to fear. Fear turned to panic. Across the galaxy, entire civilizations began to question their loyalty to the Empire. If the Empire could not protect them, why bow to its rule? Secret talks began in the shadows. Some species sent hidden envoys to Earth, desperate to form alliances. The balance of power had shifted. Humanity had not only defeated the Empire, they had broken its image of invincibility. And then came the moment that froze the galaxy in terror. Far out on the edge of known space, in a lonely star system, an alien scout ship detected something. At first it seemed like a shadow, a mass hidden against the black. But as the ship drifted closer, sensors screamed warnings. The shadow was not a planet. It was not an asteroid. It was a fleet. The largest the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands upon thousands of ships filled the void, stretching farther than the eye could follow. Warships of every size, colossal dreadnoughts and swift frigates, carriers so vast they looked like cities in motion. Their engines glowed like suns. Their weapons pulsed with silent fire. And at the heart of it all was a ship so enormous, so alien in its design, that even the scouts' computers could not measure its full size. The scouts' crew sat frozen, their eyes wide. None spoke. None breathed. They knew what they were looking at. This was the real human army, and it had been hidden, waiting. The scout tried to flee, but before its engines ignited, a calm human voice filled the airwaves. "You have seen nothing yet." The transmission carried no anger, no threat, just quiet certainty. The scout system shut down, and then, as if humanity itself had chosen mercy, the ship was allowed to leave. The crew returned home broken, their words trembling as they told the tale. But they did not need to say much. The images they carried spoke louder than anything else. The galaxy saw, and the galaxy feared. In every star system, chaos spread. The Empire tried to deny the truth, claiming the images were fakes. But deep down, even they knew it was real. The ships were too many, too powerful, too terrifying to be a lie. One alien senator whispered in despair, "If this is what they reveal, then what are they still hiding?" No one answered. No one could. On Earth, inside a hidden command room, the human leaders watched the chaos unfold. The images of their fleet were now burned into every alien mind. They had shown only a glimpse, but it was enough. A general spoke softly, almost with satisfaction. "Now they understand. Fear will hold them where weapons cannot." Another replied, "And when the day comes that we decide to reveal everything, the galaxy will kneel." There was no cheering, no celebration, just silence, steady and calm. Humanity did not need noise. Humanity already knew the truth. Across the stars, the whispers became a roar. Civilizations trembled. Empires doubted. Every ruler stared into the dark sky and asked the same question. What happens when humanity unleashes its full strength? The stars gave no answer, but deep in the black, humanity waited.